Welcome back to Barn Built Beaters. Today is the last time we get to work on the barn until winter is over. That means finish hanging drywall as well as installing all the lights. The best part is I get to store my truck inside rather than sitting outside all winter like it was last year. That's a hint, so stick around to see it. As you can tell, fall has struck, which means only a bit longer for nicer weather for working outside. Also, here in New York, snow could fall at any time, and that means salt-covered roads. Not good for your project car or truck. Due to this, I was more focused on getting this portion of the project done rather than filming, so I apologize if it is a bit jumpy. Keep watching to see how I turn this 30 by 30 foot space into a shop it is today.
Well, we got her in here, but there is some damage. Welcome back to Barn Built Beaters. This is part 2 of drywalling the barn. Today, we are tackling the garage door. So, as you can tell, I already have it off the wall. Probably should have filmed that because it didn't go quite as smooth as I wanted it to. But we're here, everybody's alive, the dog's okay, and we're just disassembling this, moving it out of our way. The next step is to drywall around the perimeter of the garage door. Then, once that's up, we have aluminum trim that we'll be putting on this corner to clean up the edges as well as hopefully keep some of that water out from the outside. You might be asking yourself what this piece is going to be used for. Well, I don't have the ceiling up yet, and I'm afraid if I put this up, I'm going to go too quickly, forget that I have the ceiling to do, and my nice screw edge will slowly disappear. I'm sure it's thick enough, but I want to be sure, so I'm going to leave. I'm going to screw this up into that screw edge and then butt the other one pretty darn close up next to it. That way it leaves me enough room to sneak a piece of drywall up there when I'm ready to finish the ceiling.
The process for hanging drywall around an opening is the same process as a standard wall. However, there are two ways to go about doing it. The first way is to measure your sheet needed and cut the excess out before installing onto the studs. The second way is to hang a full or partial sheet onto the studs without any prior cutting. After it is installed, use a drywall knife or a cutout tool to trace the perimeter of your opening, which will cut the drywall to the exact size needed. Neither method is wrong, however, I think the second method is quicker, easier, and less chance of making a mistake. Therefore, this is the process I prefer. Plus, I had to justify that Milwaukee tool somehow.
Well, I'm a little afraid of running out of drywall, so what I've done is I've been saving my scraps. As you can tell, this could easily have been completed with probably 2 pieces of drywall, but instead I used 4 pieces of scrap and made it work. I did a little calculation, and based on my calculation, we're going to be cutting it really close. So I'd rather use up the scrap now where I know it'll work relatively easy than have to somehow piece together a whole bunch more to make one sheet. We have this piece of drywall right here. I've already done one, and I'll show you how to do the next step. What I did is I hung the whole entire sheet up on the wall first, and then I took my drywall cutout tool and I traced the doorway around. So this bit is far enough where it's going to catch the wood underneath, so it won't dig into that as easy as it would the drywall, and it gets it nice and flush, and we'll just go all the way around until our door frame is cut out. Let me show you. We only have a couple of screws sunken into this, just enough to hold it for this demonstration purpose. But I'll go back later and sink a whole bunch more screws. That way, this drywall won't bow, warp, or whatever if it gets wet or the building flexes. So what we want to do is we're going to turn our drywall cutout tool on and just trace along this edge until we have that piece cut out. So let's get into it. So there you have it. That's as far as that's as much as you do. But I'm not the best at using this yet, so I just gotta come back and clean up this edge. Now that I can see it, it's a little bit easier for me. And but someone who's more experienced using this tool can definitely ride that whole edge and get it in one sweep. So I'm just gonna clean that up, and we'll keep hanging more drywall. The nice thing about this, even if it's not perfect, like right here, I messed up and I started digging into the wood a little bit. I've noticed if you go one way, it cuts out really, really easy, and then if you go the other way, it kind of digs into whatever you're trying to follow along. But so that's what I did. I went the other way. But the nice thing about this is, even though it's kind of not a perfect straight edge, like some people might be able to get it, it's just going to get covered up with trim and no one will ever see it. So don't worry about it too much if you're doing this. As I've been working out here, every single day it gets a little bit colder and a little bit colder, and that means snow is on its way, which also means salt is soon to be on the roads. So I made a judgment call on just to finish up the drywall. Then, once we're done with that, we'll clean up everything, get all the unnecessary tools out of here, and then go get the truck and the frame, bring them in here, and park them for winter undercover where they're protected.
Once again, I apologize for the lack of footage, but due to the cold weather, I was really only focused on getting my truck inside before snow and salt hit the roads. In the beginning, I was cutting the holes out for the lights with an adjustable hole slot. Although this worked, my drywall cutout tool was much more efficient and worked equally as good. Although not shown, before cutting out the lights, I went around the shop and marked on the ceiling the location of each light and traced around my 6-inch cardboard template. This is the exact same process as when I was installing my exterior lighting. After I had the lights marked on the ceiling, I went around to cut out each hole, which was followed up by installing the lights. As you can see, some of these lights did not light up even when installed. I had to climb back up into the ceiling and fix the connections. I had meant to test each light prior to installing the drywall. Oops, I guess I just got too excited.
We got the truck here, and we got another piece to the puzzle on how to get the truck down into the barn, and that would be this tractor here. So right now I have some chains strapped to the bucket, which are then hooked onto the frame horns of the truck, and I'm just going to be backing it down kind of like a trailer all the way into the garage down there. So pray for the best, and we'll hopefully get it down there. Well, we got her in here, but there is some damage. But it's not on the box or the cab, just the front end. So where the chains were pushing, there's a little damage right there. And then must be, I touched it with the bucket, so there's a big hole in there. And but that's fine. The grill was already a little damaged, not nearly this bad, but it's not the end of the world. And then the hood has some rust right here anyways, so not the end of the world. You can buy replacements, and that was kind of my plan anyways. So I'm just happy it's in here. I'm happy the nice shiny box, which is really dirty, I'm happy that that's inside and out of the weather. So yeah, there's a little bit more finagling to do, I got to get the truck over in that corner or pretty close to it. There's a frame for this that's going to be in here, and then I have to store the tractor in here for the winter. So it's a matter of getting a few things in here and tucked out of the way, but that'll be tomorrow. So that was my project for today, and I'm really happy it's in here. Feels good to see it in here too. So anyways, tomorrow we'll get the truck over there, the tractor will be parked in here, and then at a later date we'll eventually get the frame down here as well.